So this game was a game that I played versus a competitive team, and I just wanted to give a little bit of insight in how you play in a more competitive environment. However, these players are not super high tier competitive players, and I am not a super high tier competitive killer. However, I do feel like giving some insight and some perspective on the thought process behind playing a scrim or a tournament game could provide you with some more knowledge in how to get better at killer or Oni overall. I hope you enjoy, and let me know if this is something you want me to do more or less. Just let me know in the comments. I will link in the description certain tournaments or certain competitive servers you can go to practice and improve. I hope you enjoy the video. At the start of the game, we want to find the survivors as fast as possible. This is so we can get an early hit, which can then snowball into a good lead. The early game on Oni at the higher levels of play are very rough if the players know what they're doing. We always want to defend the three gens, the one near Gallo, the one behind Gallows, and currently the other generator corrupted. Here we can see that he is balance landing. I know this because you're about to see him run very fast, and also because of the generator he was working. In competitive play, lots of perks are restricted, and they're only allowed to be used versus certain killers. And each perk can only be used once per survivor. No two survivors can have the same perk. This means I know he is the only one with balanced landing, and anyone else on this generator will not be as much of a threat as he would be. This is a small part in competitive play that makes it a little bit more standardized to understand. As we see here, we got a very early hit. Normally for Oni, this means you are able to just snowball so massively in competitive play. However, I make a few choices down the line that kind of hurt my impact on the game, but we still make a comeback from this. Now that we have this hit, we want to delay this chase and force him to use as many resources as we can, but still get it down very quickly. We don't want him to run us for any more than a single generator. Oni is a very volatile killer. You need to consistently have good tempo. However, he does have good snowball potential. So maybe if you still fuck up your early game, you can still get a very good slug going. Now that we have this down, we have only really two options here. We can either look to hook him in our 3 gen, or we can look to hook him in basement. Sometimes basement is the good play, however here, it's still the early game, there's no reason to put him in basement. We want to still maintain pressure and prevent them from breaking the 3 gen early. If they do, it's going to be a lot harder for us to maintain a solid amount of pressure. Since if they just split on gens, one on each side of the map, you can only really pressure one at a time. However, in competitive play, there is no anti-camp, I guess, measure. That setting is turned off, so you are able to camp someone from first hook to fully sacrificed if you really need to. In this game, we do not. We do want, though, to try to get into second stage as quickly as possible. This means he'll be an easier kill later on. Now our main goal is to get power and to confirm this first stage. We can risk walking a little bit further out since I don't think anyone is nearby currently. However, you do need to scout out and check and make sure you're able to traverse the map, because there might be someone stealthing and looking to get a quick save behind your back if you walk away. If you find them, that's a free M1. That's more blood, more power, which equals more pressure. It's very, very good we poked him in our 3-gen. This means no one is able to work this 3-gen. No one's able to try and break it because we have multiple forms of pressure. We have someone dying on the hook, and they're in a 3-gen, so we're allowed to be there, right? There are certain spots of the map which are yours and which are the survivors. Currently, main building and the generators away from this 3-gen are the survivors area. They control what goes on there. They have all the resources, they are in control of the gens, and we don't really want to play there. We want to force them to play in our space. This is a kind of concept that I will touch up more on in maybe a different video where I showcase it a little bit better. But just know that we control a certain amount of space, and this is where we need to be. There are times where you will have to go to the survivor space to get value and to get pressure, and you can make it into your space after that, but currently, we want to be playing in this region. There were two options here. Option 1, M1 him, make him run away. Or 2, pop power and down him. See, in hindsight, I could have popped power, maybe gotten a really quick down. I had 2 people on hook. Or I could have M1'd him, forced him to reset, and just get more blood on the map. Because currently, there is no blood on the map. I have it all in my power now. The problem with popping power here is that they could just go for the unhook and I would be forced to either slug and risk them picking up the Dwight or pick up the Dwight. My next play, what do you think it will be? Pause, think about it. What would you do? This was a major, major misplay. I popped my power way too early. I didn't have anyone in sight that I could realistically down. And I guess my thought process was in the moment that I need to get back to this hook quickly to secure this to secure the second stage. However, no one was nearby, and he wasn't close enough to second stage for me to justify popping power just yet. If I was nearby and he was getting close, I could pop my power to guarantee that no one could unhook and I could go then try to get another down. Remember, be intentional with your power and have a good reason for it. Don't just pop it because you can. Have a reason for it and think about it. Of course, you have to do these things very, very fast, but after a while, they kind of become second nature to you, and you will recognize the spots where you should and shouldn't use it. This is possibly the worst scenario I can even think of currently in the state of the game. I am running out of power. I've gotten 0 value on it. Survivors could be on whatever gen currently. They could be working on windmill, they're working on main, and I have no pressure, right? I have one person injured who's not bleeding because when you're in power, no blood are spawn. They could be resetting him, and I'm losing value by the minute. I need a miracle to happen. I need a survivor to make a mistake Otherwise, I will just lose my power and they will unhook for free and I will probably lose the game. The only issue with Oni as a killer is that a lot of the time you are depending on the survivors to make a mistake. But on the inverse, survivors also depend on killer mistakes to be able to win sometimes. And it's how you punish it that makes or breaks you as a killer player. Right now, I'm stressing. I'm trying to figure out where's the closest place I could go to get it down. Currently, it's going to be main building, since I know there is always someone going to be working on a generator. And by whatever higher power there is, they blessed me with a miracle. I got it down, which has propped my eruption. Now you may say, oh, Sea Lion, you only won this game because of the survivor's big mistake. Yes, but on the inverse, if they didn't make this one, they maybe would have only won because I made the mistake of popping power with no thought behind it. You see, it goes for both ways. If you make a mistake, it is the survivor's job to capitalize on it. If they make a mistake, it's your job to capitalize on it. We are all human, we will all make mistakes. And the way you play around them in game is going to be how you get better. Right now, we have so much information at our hands that it is amazing. We know that there is someone potentially working on Windmill Gen. We know that Adam is creating a blood bank on the main generator, and we have a unhooked survivor and the unhooker in front of us. We don't want to go for the unhooked survivor. He has base kit, borrowed time, and we will never down him. What we want to do is go for this healthy survivor. Hitting him will give us blood, which will give us our power. It is very important to have good M1 mechanics, because a lot of the time, majority of the time, you are not in power. You need to be able to get consistent hits to apply more pressure. This is one of the few flaws of Oni, is that he's either really weak or really strong, and by trying to keep the really weak at a minimum, you get a more consistent overall game plan and gameplay. However, this is very hard to do. I want you to think about what do you think the most optimal play is to make here. Think about the resources you have, what they have, who's injured, who's healthy, how many hook states, and where people are. By using just a combination of all this information, you're going to be able to make the correct play more and more frequently. You will still make errors, as we are all human, but it's to get you into the mindset of actually analyzing the situation instead of just defaulting to a singular play every single time. This game is very, very dynamic in the sense that you will be put into a lot of situations. I will not be able to cover every single possible situation you could be in and how to use macro in all of them, However, I can try to explain my thought process in each one so you kind of can build the fundamentals needed to improve and to develop a good macro game sense. Knowing what you know, do you think this was the best possible play? Do you think there was anything else I could do? Could I have kicked the gen? Could have I have popped power earlier, knowing that there was more blood on the map? What different plays do you think I could have made to make this game a little bit easier for myself? This is something I just want you to think about for a bit, and then maybe apply it to your own game. After you make a play, maybe think, okay, was this the best one? What could have went differently? Okay, we are in a very interesting spot. There are two survivors left, one injured, one healthy. We almost have our power, and there is one generator remaining with a lot, and I mean a lot of progress. The Dwight is stealthing. We don't know where he is, but we can assume he's in this general area. Maybe I could have gone and spent more time looking for him by maybe opening a locker or checking another corner. This could give Jake the chance to hop on a different generator and work on it. Which do you think would be the better play here? To go get power, find the Jake, or to find the Dwight? So that was the video. I have nothing else to put at the end, so just enjoy these old clips of what Oni was before the flick changes. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this gave a little bit more thought process into the mind of a competitive Oni player and how to play him in a competitive setting. As I am fully aware, and as you are now aware, these players were not exactly the best competitive players. I plan to find higher quality scrims and maybe get back into the scene so I can provide more educational and higher quality content to you all. Thank you for stopping by and watching, and I hope you have a good day.